So Kansas City 29 and Pittsburgh 10, two different directions, two different stories. Let's start with Kansas City. The last 2 years in the NFL, Baltimore and the Buffalo Bills have blown us away. Spectacular quarterback play. And then the playoffs arrive, and Kansas City figures some stuff out, and Travis Kelce explodes, and Spags has the defense right, and the offensive line, which isn't great in the regular season, now is protecting Mahomes. And you look up, and Kansas City wins all the close games and beats in the Super Bowl an NFC roster that's arguably better. That's what they do. And I watched Kansas City dismantle the Steelers. Travis Kelce had 8 catches. They found another weapon. They do this every year. Now it's Xavier Worthy. Hollywood Brown is back. Every year they find another weapon late. The pass rush without Chris Jones, without him, was substantial. By the way, last 4 games, points and yards have increased every game, and 6 straight games without a turnover. This is what they do. They just figure out ways, little edges, advantage there, get rid of the debits. Let's turn them into credits. And this Kansas City team, to me, is a better offensive version and a more mature version of last year. Get ready, NFC. This is probably who you're going to face. And I've been hearing this. Well, this team is just, the refs. This thing is, talk about lucky. They played 3 games in 11 days, 2 on the road, and outscored their opponents to go undefeated 72-36. Yeah, it's nothing about it. Here's what they do. The stuff that matters to a lot of people, blowout wins, MVPs, it doesn't matter to them. They got 23 days now until the playoffs. They got a bye, got a regular season game, they can stay rested, and 21-1 in their last 22 games. And again, they care about what's important. Finding over the course of a season another weapon, another tackle, a little edge, improving young players. They care about the crap that makes you a Super Bowl champ. You got other teams in this league worrying about, hey, Twitter, who's the MVP? That is below Kansas City at this point. The Yankees don't care about MVPs. The Yankees are trying to get trophies. The Mets go crazy for MVPs. Like right now, everybody in Pittsburgh, hey, no losing season. Well, that's the ceiling? Or is that the floor? I'm confused. This is what Kansas City does. The protection was better without Chris Jones, all the young pass rushers. Spags got them working. Now they've got Worthy. Here's Hollywood Brown. All I hear is this. This happened to Gronk. Oh, where's Gronk? Every time the playoffs started. January, February, Gronk. Here's Travis Kelce. Christmas on. Not as much Noah Gray. Here comes Travis Kelce. So last 9 games for Patrick Mahomes as this team is a bit more mature, deeper at wide receiver, getting healthy at the right time, pass rush with or without Chris Jones. Last 9 games for Mahomes. 19 touchdowns, 2 picks. And here's what's amazing. Flying under the radar. Baltimore, MVP talk. Buffalo, man, this is the year. Kansas City does 2 things well. Gets better by December and January. And here they are, the dynasty in the league. It's a lot like New England, Belichick, and Brady. And they're flying under the radar. Everybody's talking about this is the year, and we're going to win this award. And Kansas City's just winning. And now they're winning by more. In the last 4 games, more points, more yards. This is a better version of last year's team. Now Hollywood Brown, now Worthy, now Kelce, now Watson. They'll probably grab a running back in the draft. Knowing Kansas City, that Boise State kid will fall to them at like 32. But I found New England's dynasty fascinating, their efficiency. I never felt New England outside of the Randy Moss years was the best team. They just... I didn't think they had the best roster. I don't know if Kansas City has the best roster, but they've figured out the best formula to get good at Christmas and beyond. All right, actually, it was a great NBA day. 3 games all close. NFL games were blowouts. We'll get to Baltimore, Houston, Steelers later. Listen, the one NBA thing that always works is LeBron versus Steph on Christmas. Didn't matter if he's a Cav and he's a Warrior, he's a Laker, he's a Warrior. Great fun, great finish. Both teams could use Jimmy Butler. Get to that in a second. But whether they play together in the Olympics or they meet 4 times in the finals or they play on Christmas, it's always a good watch. LeBron's going to be 40 on Monday. Steph is 36. They're great headliners. It would be nice if the NBA had a really tasty undercard. I feel like the NBA is clinging to LeBron and Steph like Hollywood's clinging to Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible series. And that's okay because it's great. And you know I love me some LeBron, Steph, and Mission Impossible. I do wish these two are at a championship level. This is where it gets interesting. The Lakers don't have the bench. They're not athletic enough, and they don't have enough shooters. Meanwhile, Golden State's got all the shooters they need. They could probably move one, but they don't have the size. But the Lakers do have the size. So if you consolidated these two teams, you'd have a hell of a team. The Lakers play Denver pretty well. Now, they don't beat them a lot, but they play them well because they have size and Denver's big. The Warriors have shooters, so they can match up with a Boston or an OKC or a Dallas and shoot their way to wins. So the Jimmy Butler trade talk is really interesting. So Jimmy Butler said over the last couple of days, I want out. And Golden State especially is very tasty. So anything the Warriors do has to be on Steph and Draymond Green's timeline. Okay, they want to squeeze one more championship out of this. And Jimmy Butler as a primary, as a number 1, leaves you feeling a little disappointed. But as a 2 to Steph, that works. Also, he's on Steph and Dre's timeline. Also, what's he known as? A great playoff performer. He's a playmaker. He is tough. He is physical. He'd get along with Draymond and Steph. He's a leader. He is often yelled at younger teammates not ready to play. So Butler, Steph, and Draymond Green is a real thing. Now, you'd have to give up Kuminga, who, by the way, you keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and it never lands. And then you'd have to give up Wiggins, who is having a pretty good year, but he's hot and cold. He had a good series against the Celtics in the final. But don't you feel like that was the peak? I think if I'm Golden State, as I'm watching Steph, because I think Steph's absolutely still good enough to get to an NBA final. Would they have the depth to beat like Boston? Would they have the firepower to beat maybe a Knicks or a Philadelphia? I don't know. But I do feel Denver's not the same team. OKC is still young. Chet Holmgren, is he available? I don't think Minnesota's quite as good. I think the Warriors with Jimmy Butler. Steph, Jimmy Butler is a second offensive option. Draymond Green, got Buddy Hield out there to hit some threes. You got Pods to hit threes. That team could get hot, cross your fingers on health. And when you watch Steph sizzle yesterday, my take is, I'm hoping the Warrior brass watches this and realizes the truth. That guy's good enough to get to the finals. You just got to find a second scoring option. And stop with a Wiggins. Wiggins is a classic example. You're a championship team if he's your 4th best player. You're a really good team if he's your 3rd best player. But if he's your number 1 player, you don't make the playoffs. And if he's your number 2 scoring option, you're going nowhere. And the Warriors right now are going nowhere. But they could be going somewhere, absolutely, with Jimmy Butler. So depth is nice, and they got a lot of depth. But that's neat. Depth is wonderful. The Celtics have depth, but their top 7 players are excellent. That's what matters. LeBron, meanwhile, nice win, turning 40 Monday, says this meant more than just a win. And it was a good day for the league. Now, did they shoot too many threes? Yeah, I mean, it's half the shots in the league now. And Adam Silver has, he has addressed that. But the Jimmy Butler stuff is percolating. Stuff gets out because somebody wants it out. So Miami wants it out. Jimmy Butler wants it out. And I think the Warriors work. There's a lot of teams in this league. People are talking Dallas. Dallas has their 2 scorers. Luka and Kyrie don't play defense. I think that would drive Jimmy Butler mad. Steph's not a great defender, but he's willing. And Draymond's an excellent defender. It would give them the toughness and the playmaking they would need. So I'd keep your eye on that. Now, and then maybe this is just me rooting for it to happen because I love Steph and I love watching the Warriors play. But if you give me Steph and Butler and Draymond and Pods and Hield and Jackson, that team can make the finals. This team can't. Couldn't even beat the Lakers. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.